Welcome to lesson number 3 of the Guitarist Toolkit. My name is Chris Amadeo, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to construct major and minor scales. This is one of the most basic and fundamental concepts in music theory, and it's a great place to start. In the last lesson, we covered using octave shapes to find notes all over the fretboard, so if you didn't get a chance to see that one, I'll link it up above. So grab your guitar, get comfortable, let's get right into it. So first, let's talk about the major scales formula and how it's constructed. Now, we're going to do this in the key of C major. There are no sharps or flats in the key of C major. So we're going to talk about the formula to actually get from one place to another, and the easiest way to do this is to start on one string. It's far easier to see the distance between the notes, so we're going to start this on the B string. So starting with the C major scale. Now, the formula for any major scale is like this. You have a whole step, another whole step, half step, another whole step, another whole step, one more whole step, and then finally a half step. So that's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So I always thought about it as like 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half for the major scale, which sounds silly, but easiest way to kind of remember that. 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. And that sounds kind of silly, but it's just kind of helping you memorize that formula a little bit better. So let's take that really slowly. You can be built off of any root. Obviously we're doing it here in C, starting on that first fret of the B string, right? So we have C, whole step up to D, whole step up to E, half step up to F natural, whole step up to G, another whole step up to A, another whole step up to B, and finally the octave. So that completes the entire scale. We're starting here at C, up the octave. That would be the 13th fret of the B string, right? So that's a really easy way to kind of get through the scale and memorize that formula, right? The intervallic distance, or just the distance between the notes, essentially. So that's a great way to construct the scale on one string, and I would definitely recommend doing that with something like G as well, maybe trying that on the first string, just so that you can get the hang of that formula and not just get kind of stuck on playing it with the dots and things like that, right? That's a common problem with guitar players, including me as well, you know, in the past, sort of using the dots to kind of navigate my way through without really knowing what I was doing. So I think it is important to start doing this in other keys, but I would definitely start with C major first, making sure that you understand the distance between the notes. Okay, so now let's look at the C minor scale. We'll talk about how the minor scale is constructed so you can start seeing the differences between them, the notes that change. So the pattern is a bit different for the minor scale. I'm going to play it first and then we can talk about the intervals. We're going to start here, our C. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So the pattern is a bit different than your major scale, and I would recommend memorizing these two patterns. The formula for the minor scale is like this. We have a whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So now let's play through the minor scale together, starting at that C. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, D, E flat, F, 3, 4, G, 3, 4, A flat, 3, 4, B flat, and C. Perfect. So let's talk about the differences between the major scale and the minor scale. Now the minor scale has a flat third. That third scale degree has been moved down a half step, right? Right here, our 6th scale degree, the A, has also been flattened a half step, as well as the 7th note of the scale, what was a B natural is now a B flat. So really you can remember it with the actual patterns as far as your whole step and half step formula, or you can think about the actual scale being constructed, that the difference with the minor versus major scale is that you have a flattened third, a flattened sixth, and a flat seventh scale degree, right? That's another good way to kind of think about these scales and patterns. So the next thing I want to do is talk about a simple exercise, maybe not so simple, but to help you kind of hear the scale patterns against a bass note. So I'm going to play the C major scale here on the B string, but I'm going to use different C roots. Right? E, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. G, 3, 4. A, 3, 4, B, 3, 4, and C, 3, 4. So I'm using 3 bass notes here. 3rd fret on the A string, right? 8th fret on the low E, and the 15th fret on the A string, right? We know those are C's already. We learned that in the first video and the second video if you want to go back and take a look at those. So we saw how the major scale sort of plays off of those. Why don't we try it with the minor scale as well? It'll be a little bit different fingering, but same idea. So let's start with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D, right? The E flat, good. 3, 4. F, 3, 4. G, 3, 4. A flat, 4, B flat, 3, 4, C, 3, 4. So that's just using whole notes for each one. Now that's a great exercise to practice these scales, and it could be a great warm-up as well, just kind of like getting used to it. Right, something like that. With the C major, I think it sounds really cool if you incorporate the open G string as well. Right? It's sort of a finger-picking kind of pattern, and it sounds pretty cool if you include that. You could do it with the minor as well, but I think it's sort of helpful to kind of have these creative ways to practice these scales so you're not just stuck. And obviously you should do that at first, but I think it's good to kind of branch out and do something that you can kind of create on your own that makes it a little bit more fun. Now in the next lesson, we're going to be talking about diatonic harmony, essentially talking about how these scales create chords when they're stacked with triads and why chords sound good with other chords. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. And if you're struggling to understand some of these concepts, remember you can always book a private one-on-one lesson with me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.